my fellow introverts. Stacy here, your programming and test automation expert. Today we are going to discuss Python function arguments and everything that you have to know about them. We will start from the very basics and then I will try to show you different stuff that very surprising for me. I didn't know about them. So check it out and we will start in a moment. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel and check the links in the description. And now it's time to get on with it. Now let's discuss default arguments in Python. So what is it? What the heck is it in general? So we might have a function that accepts a couple of parameters, or maybe even one of them. And basically, we want to have a default value for one of the parameters. And we kind of want it be specified in some cases, but in other cases, we just want it to have a default value. This is a very common case, so basically we need to take a look into this. Let's say that we have a function which is called move. And it just prints out where do we move. So we will have some destination. And we will have a mode, right? The way that we move. So we can run or we can, let's say, walk. Let's say like this. We will do a print right away. We will say to destination. And we will print out the destination. And now, depending on the mode, we want to say whether we're running to this destination or we are walking to this destination. So to do that, we can just do mode here. And now we can test it out. So let's do move, let's say Paris, and we will say that we're walking. Walk to destination Paris. Okay, and we could call it again and say that we run to this destination, right? So if we run it again, then we'll see walk to destination Paris, run to destination Paris. Or we can say London. Okay, so these are just the regular parameters with regular arguments being passed to them in positional way. So this is the stuff that we have already learned. And now, what if we want the mode to be walking by default, but you can actually specify that you can run to this destination, right? So then if we have a default value for walking, then for Paris, for example, we might say that we just call it this way, move Paris, and we're going to be walking to Paris. Quite a long walk, but let's imagine this. So how would we do this? First of all, we have to make this an argument with the default value. So what we will do, we're going to make the mode equal walk. Okay? So now if we run it, let's see what happens. Walk to destination Paris and run to destination London, right? If we call it again, let's say with, I don't know, Amsterdam, and run it again, then we will have walk to destination Paris, walk to destination Amsterdam, and run to destination London. You can give all of the parameters the default values, but again, you cannot do something like this. This will not work because first of all, we define the parameters that don't have a default value, and only after them we define the parameters that have a default value. Okay, going to more hardcore stuff right now. So args and kwargs. Let's demystify this. If you have not worked with Python, this is going to be something new for you, and probably you're going to be quite impressed by what we are going to do. So, sometimes in Python you will see something like this. This looks a bit mystic, a bit strange, but basically what you have to know here is that the args are standing for arguments, and kwargs are standing for keyword arguments. So if we have such a function, what we could do print args kwargs without those asterisks, right? Yeah, like this. And now we can call my awesome function. Let's not pass anything here because we can do this. Still, it has some parameters, but we can actually call it without any problem. So let's try to do it. And we will get those interesting signs. So these are the messages from alien civilizations. We're receiving some telemetry from cosmos. Well, of course it's not, but basically what is happening here is the arguments are a tuple of function arguments. Those positional ones, right, that we are passing without naming the parameters. And the second one, the second part of the telemetry that we received from Cosmos is the keyword arguments. So basically the ones that we put with the name of the parameter. Let me show you how it works. So let's put 1, 4, 3, and 4, let's say. As you can see, PyCharm already helps us and says that these are the arguments. And then we can do A equals 11, B equals, let's say, ABC. So let's run it. And now, as we can see, these are no longer those strange messages. We have the actual content that we have passed, but in a weird way, let's say, because first of all, the args, this is a tuple of 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. So these are our arguments. And then we have the keyword arguments, which is A, which is 11, and B, which is ABC. So basically, these keyword arguments are being represented as a dictionary. Might be quite convenient in some situations. So as you can see, if you're using args and keyword args, this means that you can actually pass as many parameters as you want. You can just pass the positional arguments this way. Then A and B will not work. Let me show you. Right? So actually, this way we can restrict this function to only receive non-keyword arguments, so the positional ones. Or we could do kwargs. And it's very important that you use 2 asterisks here because 1 asterisk means that you are referring to the positional arguments. So now we can put the kwargs here, and then it will not work because it will not like the 1, 3, 4, right? If we remove the 1, 3, 4 and run it again, we will see our dictionary. And vice versa with the arguments. We can actually call it the way we want. We can call it params, let's say. Right? And then this way it will not work because we have only 1 asterisk here. So if we do it the way that it's supposed to be, it will work, right? So this is something that you have to know about args and kwargs as they're being called. And this is a very Pythonic feature. As far as I know, I haven't seen it in other languages. Maybe there are. Let me know in the comments what other different stuff you have seen in other languages, but this is pretty much convenient for some cases. What you can also do actually, if you have another function, let's say def my other awesome function, and it has A and B, let's say, as parameters, and we want to call my other awesome function inside of my awesome function and pass it the keyword arguments from here. We would need to do something like this, and then we are going to call my other awesome function, and now we want to use A and B. We could pass it the params, right? And now let's do A and B here, and let's run it. And as you can see, it also works. So this is a bit JavaScript style, I would say, but you can definitely do this in Python if you want to. It's not a very good way of doing that because you actually lack the information. What are you going to expect here? So if we pass, for example, A and C here and we run it again, then we're going to get an error because my other awesome function doesn't expect a C, it expects a B. So we're losing this information because we're kind of saying that this my awesome function just accepts the parameters. But sometimes you want to work with some JSON, for example, coming from a server or from a client, and you want just to have separate small functions that are doing something with parts of this JSON. One more thing we need to understand about those asterisks when we're using args and kwargs. So we have this similar situation. Let's run it. Let's see what's happening. So we have my func accepting args and kwargs, and we're printing out what did we put here. So we can actually make one positional argument and let 3 be keyword argument. What if we use asterisks in prints, right? So let's try it out. Let's put it to the first one. Let's run it. And it's going to unpack itself, something like this. What if we try with 2 asterisk signs here? And we're going to get an error. One still works, and we're getting an error for B. And the type error says that B is an invalid keyword argument for print. So what is actually happening here? We are basically unwrapping the arguments and we're trying to give the kwargs as keyword arguments when we're calling the print, right? So what we could actually do, we could create an inner function and let it kind of accept something similar. So we can do params. Let's call them some other way. Oh yeah, we need 2 asterisks here. And I'm going to remove these guys and I'm going to call them my func. And if we put these without any asterisks, we are going... Oh yeah, sorry. Inner func, of course. Okay. We're going to get something like this. So we're going to get 1 and we're going to get a dictionary. B key is 3. And as you can see, we are getting a recursive thing here going on because these are also positional arguments, right? And we have the keyword arguments here. So basically, if we want this to behave the way it did before, so that we just print the params and keyword params the way we did before for my func, then we have to use asterisks here and unwrap them, right? So do something like this again. And now we are going to get the result. This is a kind of a nice idea for an interview question. If you are asked something like this, then you will know now that this is a tricky part, so you have to remember about this. What we can do here as well, we can actually put here a dictionary. Let's try it out. So we are going to have something like G, for example, right? And if we do it this way, then if we run it, naturally we're going to get this as a positional argument. But what we could do, we could put 2 asterisks here. And let's run it. And now, as you can see, this was actually passed in as keyword arguments. So if we put, let's say, 1, 2, 3 here, and we put an asterisk, we're going to unwrap it, and we're going to get 3 arguments, positional arguments instead. So this is something to keep in mind. This is very cool thing, and you can actually do it the JavaScript style or something like this and unpack dictionaries or lists to function arguments, just like that, right? One more tip I wanted to show you, as we're talking about args and kwargs, is something I didn't know of actually when I was preparing for this video, and something that I found and is pretty cool, and if you see it you might be a bit confused. So what I'm talking about, there might be a situation where you have a function, so let's define one, my func, and you get something like this, right? So you have the regular a and b parameters, and you get an asterisk at the beginning. So as you can see, we don't have any value, any name for these positional arguments. So it's not like asterisk args or something like this, and then we just have the regular arguments. So let's try and print it out. So we will try with the asterisks a and b. So as you can see, something is already a bit wrong here, but let's try to call the function and see what happens. PyCharm says that there is this asterisk, there is a and b, so we can actually try to provide 3 values. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So in this case, we will get a syntax error because kinda this asterisk is not a good thing to be printed out, so we have to remove it. There is no way we can actually print it, and now we kind of have to remove the first argument because we are not going to be able to pass it, so it seems. We can try to run it, and then we will see that my func takes 0 positional arguments but 3 given. Maybe it's complaining about giving it something for the asterisk, right? So let's try to remove it. No, we have the same error. So actually, if we look closer into this error, then we see that my func takes 0 positional arguments, right? So it doesn't accept any positional arguments, it only accepts keyword arguments. So this is a very weird Pythonic way of making some kind of a validation of how you call the function. So this way you can actually restrict this function of being called, and then you have to use only keyword arguments, right? Not the positional ones. So if we fix it to something like a equals 2 and b equals 3 and run it again, it is going to work. So as you can see, there is a hint or something that you can use, and this is how it works. I was very surprised myself, so I didn't know about this. Alright folks, it's time to wrap it up for today. I think I've covered most of the Python function arguments cases that you might be put up with on your daily routine. If I forgot something, then please just let me know in the comment section. I'm definitely going to make a video about that. Just please give me some time. I was very busy with other projects for Introverted besides YouTube. And speaking of that, please don't forget to check the QR codes, which are going to appear here. So if you're looking for soft skills or technical skills extension, you just want to learn something new, then please check them out. We're working very hard on making these courses, so if you're interested, just check them out. I remind you that we are going to have a hackathon. There is going to be some announcements in YouTube community as well, and you're going to know about this, and you're free to sign up. This is going to be a cool event, I hope. And remember that we are going to give some prizes to the people who are going to make the best project. I'm trying to motivate you here. And speaking of that, just don't forget to like the video, to subscribe to our channel, and check the links in the description where you will find today's video code. And I wish you a very happy coding, and I will see you very soon.